Welcome back to the Larson Show. Diane Black joins us now, member of Congress representing Tennessee's 6th Congressional District. Representative Black, it's good to have you back on the program.
Oh, it's good to be back. I've missed chatting with you.
Well, I know we're going to get you back regularly, but I have to tell you, I'm a little troubled by this Trans-Pacific Partnership, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
On one hand, I'm a total free trader. I want free trade. The part about the deal that bothers me is where an international group then gets to take a look at cases where countries have said, well, Tennessee changed its rules on the import or the export of certain goods, and we think that violates our trade rights. And instead of the Tennessee legislature or the Congress addressing that, this international tribunal will be able to make decisions that affect things in Tennessee or Oregon or California or some other place. That's the part of the deal I don't like.
Well, now the TPA, which is the Trade Promotion Authority, which is what we'll be working on this week, and we have a hearing on this tomorrow. We'll be marking it up on Thursday. Actually inserts Congress into that conversation and gives us much more say over the different pieces of what they can and cannot negotiate in a trade agreement. You know, the president has the authority to do that by the Constitution, but he doesn't have the authority to change law. So we are able to insert ourselves to make sure that the kinds of things they're negotiating on, we set the barriers on that. I sort of think about like a bowling alley. When a kid bowls, you put up those little barriers with bumper guards on either side. And that's what is good about this, is it gives Congress an opportunity to be able to insert itself to make sure that what the trade representative is doing on his negotiations. Obviously, we can't all be at the table. So we set some parameters in this to give him guidelines so that we know what he's negotiating are going to be for the good of our country and our American workers.
And is there a reason this is being fast-tracked?
Well, it's called fast-track. And the reason why it's called that is what it does is we set out the parameters. We give this to the United States Trade Representative as he's sitting at the table negotiating, and that gives him an opportunity to know that when that comes back, it will get either an up or a down vote in Congress. In other words, it's not going to come back to Congress and have all these amendments placed upon it. And that allows him to do what they call fast track, so that while he's negotiating, he says, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, because that goes outside that bumper that they put there. And that way, when it does come back to Congress, now we still have the ability through the Trade Promotional Authority to say, no, we don't like what you're doing. We can actually say that even during the negotiations. One of the new provisions that we put into this Trade Promotion Authority is that we can ask the U.S. Trade Representative to come to our office and brief us. We can actually go to the negotiations and listen to the negotiations. So there's a lot more transparency there, which gives us the opportunity to be involved. We can actually, if it's not going the way we believe that it's going, we can pull that TPA, which means the negotiations are off. So I know people get real concerned that they hear this through the media, not necessarily you, but others that talk about, Congress has got no authority in this. And it's just the opposite of that. I encourage people to turn the TV on and listen to us as we debate this in the committee, so that they will have more assurances that this is going to be good for the American people. That's what I'm about. I want to make sure that my folks in my district are well represented. I have over 800,000 jobs that are there because of trade.
See, and again, that doesn't entirely answer my question about whether or not by giving this kind of authority, if we make these deals that will hand off some of our national sovereignty by having an international body decide, for example, that a new law passed in Tennessee that affects the kind of goods that can come in or out might have an adverse effect on some country that's exporting that good, and so they go to this, under this deal, they're allowed to demand that it be changed. And it sounds like we're handing off or threatening to hand off some authority to other bodies outside the United States, and that concerns me.
I'm not sure what body you're talking about, whether you're talking about the World Trade Organization. Is that the body you're talking about, Lars? Because I'm not familiar with what you're talking about there. Now, the World Trade Organization, the WTO, is there as a sort of a tribunal, so to speak, where when we believe that there has been some trade agreement that has been violated, we can go before then. And by the way, we've done that a number of times, specifically with China, and we win every time we go because China is one who likes to steal our intellectual property, and we've gone a number of times to them about our complaint of China breaking trade rules. But we are not handing anything off or giving any authority to international bodies, except when there is a disagreement. There is a World Trade Organization that serves as the court to decide who is right or wrong in that in that particular violation.
Fair enough. As long as U.S. sovereignty is protected, I'm all for having more trade. I know it bothers the labor unions. I know it bothers some Americans who say they don't want to see more trade. But as far as I'm concerned, more trade for the United States is the way that this country has always been able to grow. It's true from the very beginning, and that the last thing we want to do is start cutting off opportunities to trade with other countries. It means jobs for Americans, and if we stop doing it, they'll be happy to trade with somebody else. Congresswoman, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, Lars, you are welcome. And just on your point, 95% of the world's customers live beyond our borders. So we've got a lot of folks we can sell our goods to. But thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on.
Glad to have you on anytime. Representative Diane Black, representing Tennessee in the United States Congress.